this example, I'm going to show you how to use the I-84 to perform a hypothesis test for the population mean. There are 5 steps that you have to fulfill. Whether you do the work by hand or by the calculator, you still have to show the 5 steps. So I'm going to walk you through an example, and you can follow this example to perform any hypothesis test about the mean when using the calculator. A machine being used for packaging seedless golden raisins has been set so that on average 15 ounces of raisins will be packaged per box. The quality control engineer wishes to test the machine settings and select a sample of 35 packages filled during the production process. The mean weight of the sample is 14.9 ounces with the sample standard deviation of 0.11 ounces. Is there enough evidence that the mean weight per box is different from 15 ounces? So the engineer is suspected that the mean weight is different from 15 ounces. We need to study this claim. And he says use alpha equals 0.05. The first step in a hypothesis test is to state the null and the alternative hypothesis. The null is a statement that has an equal sign, and the alternative hypothesis is the one that we want to support, is a statement that has a different from, less than, or greater than. Since he's asking us to test if the mean is different from 15 ounces, so that it's going to be a different from sign in the alternative hypothesis. So this is the null hypothesis. HO, we label that HO mean is 15. It's always an equal sign in the null hypothesis, always. HA is the different from, so it's a different from 15, and that's what the engineer is trying to check. The sample size, N is what? 35. Let me write it down. And X bar, which is the sample mean, 14.6, and the standard deviation of the sample is as 0.35. So step number 1 has been completed. You need to fulfill, this step is the most critical step, because if you put a wrong hypothesis, you'll be testing a wrong claim. So that's null in the alternative hypothesis. Now, to calculate the test statistic and the p-value, we're going to use the calculator. So turn the calculator on, go to stat, tests, t-test, enter. Okay, input. Do we have a raw data set? No, we have a summary. They gave us a summary of the information, so we use the stats. Mu0 is 15. Okay, mu0 is the value from the null hypothesis, the assumed value, which is 15. X bar, you enter 14. Oh, it's 14.9. I'll fix that one over there. And I'm just gonna fix this. Okay, it is 14 point, and the standard deviation, I also put the wrong one here, 0.11. Okay, now it's okay. So standard deviation, you're seeing some data on my calculator. This is from a previous problem, so 0.11. Sample size is 35. And now, before you calculate, the calculator is asking you to choose what is the alternative hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis here is different from, so make sure to select different from and press enter, and then calculate. Okay, so I got the test statistic now, which is negative 5.37. I'll write it down. Negative 5.378. Okay, p-value. This is the most important part now. P-value is, okay, as you can see on the calculator, it says 5.54 e to the negative 6. Means you have to move the decimal point 6 digits to the left. So the answer will be 0.0000055. Which is very, very small. It's almost 0. Now, step number 4. How do you make a decision when you perform a hypothesis test? If p-value is less than alpha, you reject HO. And if p-value is more than alpha, you fail to reject HO. Okay, what is it in our case? Alpha, the level of significance alpha is 5%. Alpha is the probability of rejecting HO when it is true. It's the probability of making a mistake, which we call type 1 error. Okay, well, since the p-value is 0.0, it's almost zero, definitely it is less than alpha. So p-value equals 0.0000055 is less than alpha, which is 0.05. So what's your decision here? Reject HO. Okay, so step number 5. The calculator does not do step number 5. We have to interpret our decision. If we reject HO is the null hypothesis, then we support HA. It's always like that. The claim is in HA. You reject the first one, you can speak in support of the other one. And here's the language that you use here. There is enough evidence. At what significance level? At the 5% level of significance to conclude that, or to support the claim, to conclude that the mean weight of packaged raisins is different from 15 ounces. Does that mean that the engineer will have to check and reset the machine? Definitely yes, because we concluded that there's a strong evidence that it is different from 15 ounces. So this is how we use the calculator to perform a hypothesis test. Actually, the calculator is going to find the test statistic for you. It's going to find the p-value. And for the p-value, guys, you just, if your p-value is less than alpha, you reject HO. If p-value is more than alpha, you fail to reject HO. And then you just follow the same steps.